Hello, hello, everybody. We are ready to go. I want to thank you all for listening and joining. So today we're going to be chatting about the 7 daily primal needs. This is a system that I created a while back because a lot of times people ask me, they would ask me about our exercise program. They would say, I got 20 pounds to lose, Brian. I have 30 pounds to lose. I have 40 pounds to lose. And I'd really like to find out more information about your exercise program. So I'd be listening and think, okay. They want to know about our exercise program. So I'd give them those details. Our workout times are this. This is what we do. We cater to people with various skills and injuries and abilities. And they would say, okay, great. And then I would say, I got a question for you. I know you want to lose this weight, but exercise is one thing we do, but I'm really interested in hearing more about you because we do a lot of other things. And I think a lot of other things are very important when it comes to weight loss and fat loss. So what are you eating? Are you following any particular nutrition program? And typically they go, well, no, I'm relatively healthy.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of different things. I've done everything, and I know I just really need to exercise. I'm like, okay, got it. And then I usually ask another question. I say, well, tell me a little bit more about your life. How's your sleep? What time do you go to bed? What time do you wake up? I'm like, yeah, I go to bed around midnight or so, wake up around 6:30. And I'm like, okay. Do you feel rested? No, I'm pretty tired. Got it. Okay. How's water for you? How you doing like with your hydration? I have a couple glasses a day. Like, okay, got it. And how I got one more question for you. I got two more questions for you. You ever like just take any time for breathing? Just like pausing. You ever pause the other day? I know you told me you work a lot, but do you ever kind of like take any time away from work and just pause and maybe take a few breaths? Maybe you do any meditation apps or anything like that? They're like, not really into that. I can't really sit down. My mind's always racing. Like, okay, got it. So I ask a lot of questions and I get answers so I can figure out how to help people the best I can. And then I usually ask another question. That question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you say you are in regards to your stress load? 10 being like the max load, 1 being like zero stress, right? So, and people will say, well, I'm about an 8 or a 9. I'm a 10. I'm a 10 plus. Yeah, life's really overwhelming. I'm like, okay, got it. I said, well, I usually tell them, I go, there's a lot going on there, huh? Like, yeah, well, yeah, kind of. I've always been like this. I go, well, I think you need a little more than an exercise program. so that's kind of why I developed this model, is because people really valued exercise as a very important thing in their life, and it is important, but it's just one variable. And so what I did was I put a hierarchy on these areas that I believe everybody needs to focus on a daily basis. So here we are today, 2021, and it's now called the 7 daily primal needs. It used to be the 6 daily primal needs. And actually, even when it became 7 primal needs at one point, 3 years ago or so, the order was different. The actual order was number 4 was actually sleep, and number 3 was food. And that is because I believe that food was more important than sleep until I met a friend of mine named Sina Nadler, I believe his last name is, and he works with Stanford on sleep. And he's a sleep expert. He gets paid a lot of money to help people with sleep. And he told me, he goes, Brian, I love what you've done with this model, because I shared it with this group I was in that we were in together. I was the nutrition fitness guy. He was the sleep guy. And, we were sharing our ideas. And he's like, and I basically explained my model to him, which I'll explain to you guys. And he said, well, everything sounds awesome, Brian, but did you know you can only go 11 days without sleep before you die? I was like, I didn't. So that became more important than food, because you can go about 21 days before you die without food or so. 21 days you can last. So that means sleep is actually is more important than food. And water, you can only go about 7 days without water before some pretty serious consequences. And you can only live about 5 minutes without air. So that's the rationale for breathing, hydration, sleep, and food. And those are my 4 absolutes, my 4 life-sustaining absolutes. Those are like must-haves, right? So I try to encourage everybody to focus on those 4 things. And if we can dial on those 4 things, then we can reduce our stress significantly. If we can also improve our relationships, which is the love area, we can really optimize, our life and our vitality. Because if you ever been in a bad relationship, it kind of takes a lot of energy out of you, right? It sucks the energy out of you. So anyway, so that's why number 5 is there. And then number 6 is this need to grow, this constant need to get, just feel like you're making progress. So progress is everything. If you don't feel like you're making progress, even if you are, you may quit a program that's successful. Does that make sense? So it's really important to figure out ways to track progress, because otherwise you may quit a program that's very successful. I've seen it happen here. I've had to explain to people, hey, you're actually doing really well. I know you didn't lose 20 pounds, but you lost 10 pounds and 6% body fat. That's 3 dress sizes. But they were only focusing their key success variable was weight loss. They didn't even understand fat loss. So sometimes we just have to figure out how to measure better, but we need to figure out how to measure progress. And there's lots of ways to measure progress, which I talk about. And, not just the scale, but body fat to, a pair of jeans fitting better, or maybe a picture. I'm a big fan of all of those for weight loss and fat loss, because the scale by itself is not a very good indicator of progress. Okay. And then number 7 is move our movement. So again, I love exercise. I think it's super important to commit to moving throughout the day, not even just a 30-minute session, but throughout the day. Like if you have an opportunity, you're taking a phone call and you don't have to be on Zoom, jump on your phone, put your headset on and take a walk. Like just try to move. If you can stand more than you sit, even better. If you can move more than you stand, even better. So that's a summary of the 7 daily primal needs. And then today I'm going to just break down some different things we can do in order to create routines around these 7 things. Sound good? What's up, Monique? How are you? Good to see you. And then I have a relatively new system, by the way. If you text 650-514-6679, and you just write, if you just enter the word card, C-A-R-D, in lowercase letters, you're going to get my virtual business card to your phone, and all my contacts would go into your phone, and all my main services and programs are in there. If you ever wanted to share it with somebody, it would be really easy to do that. So check that out. All right. So transformation. So who wants a transformation? So these are some folks that I've worked with over the years, and everybody's got transformation stories. But one of the reasons why I'm showing this is that the majority of these people, they didn't get here because they worked harder in the weight room. That's my number one reason for showing this slide. Everybody, every trainer, every coach, every program has success stories. But how did they achieve those success stories? Most of these people for my clients, they did a lot of things. They changed their exercise habits, but more importantly, they changed their nutrition. Most of them changed their sleep habits. And I'd say most of them figured out a way to reduce stress. So remember, if we can reduce stress, we balance our hormones. Remember that. Stress reduction equals hormone balance. The side effect of hormone balance, like when I say hormone balance, it's like reducing cortisol is a big stress hormone, right? That's what we want. We want to reduce that for all of us. All of us have elevated levels of cortisol. Now, maybe not all the time, but let's just say you stay up really late tonight, for example, and you watch Netflix. Well, you're going to increase your cortisol level simply because you're up too late watching TV, say past 10. And also you'll see a reduction in melatonin, your sleep hormone. So stress goes up, your sleep quality goes down just from watching TV late at night or any technology. So that's going to have an effect over time on everything, on other hormones. But the side effect of that is typically belly fat, digestive issues, sleep disturbances, just a host of problems. All right. So I'm just giving an example of one type of stress, sleep stress. All right. So let's try to dial in our sleep and we'll talk about that. Okay. So we can achieve transformations and we just have to figure out what is it that you need, or maybe a couple things that you need. And also, I thought I'd show this. We can achieve transformations virtually. These are two people that I've never met in person. They both had amazing success. And I actually just want to show these number differences as well. Remember I said that sometimes the scale isn't the best indicator of progress? Well, I've been working with this young lady, Emily, for a while. And, you know, I wasn't overly impressed by her numbers. If you kind of look at her numbers, actually, I don't have the, yeah, well, she lost 12 pounds and 2% body fat. Now, that's not, I mean, it's not really crazy numbers, right? I was like, oh, I could do that. And I think people can say, I could do that. 2% body fat, 1% body fat. But 2% body fat is actually pretty significant if you look at the picture. She's much smaller. So by only losing 12 pounds and 2% body fat, she lost about 2 dress sizes. And that is why we got to be careful when we look at weight only. If I actually even for me, like I this is what I do, and even I kind of downplayed her success until she showed me this photo. I was like, oh, damn, girl, I actually didn't think you did that well, but damn, because I was just looking at her numbers every day, and I've never seen her before. It's all virtual. She lives in Connecticut. All right. So, and then we have Lee. I mean, her numbers are amazing. 27 pounds and 6.7% body fat. She lost 3 dress sizes. But those numbers are completely different. Wow. She lost almost 2. She lost almost 3. So anyway, we just got to use multiple ways of showing progress. But you know, I'm a big fan of photos. Nobody likes doing photos, but again, especially in the beginning. But I highly recommend if you take photos on a consistent basis, you will be proud of yourself and you'll probably be more likely to continue on even when you don't want to, because you're going to be like, oh, I actually look better than I thought, because you have to live in your body. And we're just our own worst enemies, right? We're worst critics. So take photos and just keep plugging away. Keep doing what you need to do, the little things. All right. So 7 daily primal needs. I already gave a pretty thorough introduction, and so I'm going to go over them really quickly. But my goal is to talk about those life-sustaining absolutes, those first 4 primal needs, and how important they are to reduce stress and optimize your health and vitality. So those 4 things are the key, especially if you're dealing with an injury or you got a surgery coming up, maybe. Those would be really important to really focus on, those first 4, especially post-surgery, because you can't move very well, right? Post-surgery, you're maybe bedridden or whatever, you just can't do a lot of exercise, but don't let that stop you. A lot of folks who get injured or, like, say, get back pain in their sideline, they're like, they feel sorry for themselves. They lie on their back and they're like, I can't do anything, my back hurts. And they're like, I'm going to order pizza. It's a bad idea. Bad idea. I'm going to stay up late. Bad idea. I'm too lazy to get water. Bad idea. This is the time. This is actually more important to drink your water, get better sleep. Do whatever you can to get water, sleep, eat the right foods, figure out a way, be resourceful, ask a friend for help, do whatever you can. And actually, here's another thing on that. People love to help and they mean well, but they don't like to bring healthy food. So be careful on the food that you accept when you're injured, because that'll actually slow down your healing process. Now, it's really nice to get shepherd's pies and pasta dishes. I know people mean well, but it really can delay your healing. So if you can say, just say, oh, I'll be happy to accept, if someone says, I'd love to bring you a meal. We actually just moved. So some people said that. And we're kind of like trying not to be rude. Like, oh, it'd be nice to have a meal, but I also know that these people do eat gluten-free and dairy-free. So sure, I'd love a meal. Are you looking to make it gluten-free and dairy-free? You know, it's like, it's hard to say that, you know, because like trying to, it's free, but you know, you're probably better off not eating any old free meal. This is the mistake a lot of athletes make as well, because they get free food all the time. Like, if imagine you're a professional athlete. I mean, they're giving you free food, free bars, free shakes, and this is like crap food, like Medirex and different companies. They give athletes free products, and they're like, okay, it's free, and it's hard to turn down free food. So something to think about. All right.
Mm-hmm.
7 daily primal needs to consider to create life balance. How this knowledge will set you on the path to achieve optimal health and fitness. The importance of making yourself a priority, and some specific things you can do to improve your life, so you feel that life is easier. I love that word, ease. So to improve the ease of life, this is something that I've been working on. Something I've been working on with this. Actually, our speaker next Thursday, she's going to be talking. She's my energetic healer, and she's an outstanding Diane. And
Oh,
we talk about ease. That'll be at noon Pacific Standard Time next Thursday. But we talk about ease a lot. How do I make life easier? And I say the affirmation, I am ease. I am ease. I'm trying to drive it into my nervous system, because I love making things hard. I've made things hard as well. That's why I love working with all of you, because I've been there, I am there, and I'm looking to move out of there as fast as I can. But I still like to make things hard. So we're all in this together. All right. So here's a question for you. Are you a priority? At the end of the day, there's only 3 different areas. We have our work, our relationships, and our self. There's 3 things to really think about at the end of the day. Your work, your relationships with your family and friends, and your self-care. So how are you doing taking care of yourself? Right? Most people are not very good at it, especially women, and even more so moms. Moms are the worst, because they're busy taking care of their kids and everybody else, including the husbands often. And then if that mom is like a healthcare worker, it's ugly. Like if a mom's a doctor or a nurse, it's just, they are really bad at taking care of themselves, because they're getting paid to take care of other people, right? So we need to create that balance. And remember this, that physical changes, so what most people often want, physical changes like losing weight, losing body fat, they're the side effect of a balanced mind, body, and spirit. So I didn't have the 7 daily primal, like within the 7 daily primal needs, there's nothing about the mindset there, if you notice, right? It's breathing, hydration, sleep, food, relationships, growth, and then we have our exercise, our movement. Think of mindset as the bonus to the 8th daily primal need, and the most important, your mindset. But if we can dial in the breathing, the hydration, sleep, and food, and exercise, and those other things, a lot of times there's an improvement in the mind. All right. So, but we need it all. All right. So the physiology is the foundation of all of this. And if we can change our physiology, we can change our life. All right. How do we change our physiology? It's basically all your organs and systems inside of you, right? That's our physiology. That's our foundation, right? How do we change that? Well, again, breathing, hydration, sleep, and food, and exercise. Those are ways to improve our physiology, or screw up our physiology if we're not focused on those things. Okay, so you got to make yourself a priority consistently in order to look and feel your best. And actually, I'm a big fan of feeling your best in order to look your best, rather than the other way around. So a lot of people are focused on the look. I want to see the scale, Brian. How many times you hear that, Cheryl? The scale,
Yeah.
I'm moving. But how do you feel? Oh, I'm fine, I'm good, but I just want the scale to move. Well, here's the thing. If you feel good, you'll look better. If you feel good consistently, that's a good sign, right? That means your hormones are balanced. That means your energy is good. That means your vitality is good. But let's say you don't feel well, or let's say you don't feel well and you're bloated, you're gassy, you're not going to the bathroom. That's not feeling well. Let's say you got skin problems. So something's wrong. So if I'm not feeling well, if I'm getting sick a lot, yeah, I'm not going to look well. So just remember that that's the way it works. Not if it's not if I look well, I feel well, because a lot of people don't feel well that look well. Like if you go to almost any gym and ask like dudes who look really lean, ripped up, or super like muscular, most of those guys are in pain. They have injuries. Like Cirque du Soleil people. One of my mentors was the athletic trainer for the San Jose Cirque du Soleil traveling group, and he said they're a mess. Like these guys are massive. They can do these weird things, crawling up walls, but at the expense of their massive, weird hypermobility, because they could do weird things, and these massive guys. Have you ever seen the show? They're a mess. They're injured all the time because they overtrain. They're probably not eating enough calories or anything else. So remember, we got to feel better consistently, okay? And then it will all work out. So I already went over the model, okay? So ideally, I'd recommend going to the website. If you just type in 7 daily primal needs in Google, this will show up first. I made it to first.
Wow.
Anyway, so yeah, so I would recommend just printing out the model and maybe putting it on your refrigerator or something like that. Okay, so just real quick, write on a piece of paper, grab a piece of paper if you have one, write down how are you doing with the primal need number 1, breathing. Just write on a 1 to 10 scale. 10 is like I'm awesome, I'm killing it. All right, number 2, how are you doing with your water? And actually, let me go back to breathing. So 10 means like you're actually taking the time each day to pause, maybe going outside in a special place and just taking some slow, deep breaths, or just, listening to a meditation app maybe, or maybe you do a yoga class and the meditation's thrown into that. But are you stopping, pausing, and consciously breathing? If you're making that effort a couple times a day, give yourself a 10. Okay. I got to admit, the last few days, I moved on Saturday. Last few days, the last week or so, I have not done much at all. I would give myself a 2. So hardly at all. I've been really bad, and I feel more tension. I feel like I'm in a state of hurriedness. Because we have boxes all over our floor. We've been living in this new house for 4 days now, and I feel like any spare moment I have, I feel like I need to do this, unload this box, find a place for this thing, just trying to, because I want to create this space for myself and my family. So I feel stressed to do that, but I should actually just not worry about when it gets done. I would be healthier. Right? Because that stress, it takes a toll on you, especially if you have chronic stress, right? This could be what I'm dealing with right now, and just not pausing and just trying to go, could definitely throw someone into a suppressed immune system and create further problems. So it just depends, right? So I need to remind myself to breathe more often. Number 2, how are you doing with your water? Are you drinking at least half your body weight in ounces of water? So if you weigh 150 pounds, hypothetically, you would need a minimum of 75 ounces of water a day. Now, you could still be dehydrated even if you drink that much, because some people are deficient in minerals and electrolytes, especially if you sweat a lot and work out a lot. You typically need another 4 ounces every 15 minutes of exercise. So give yourself a rating. Are you a 10, 9, 8, whatever? Number 3, sleep. Are you getting a good 7+ hours a night sleep? Are you waking up energized? Are you waking up in the middle of the night? Some people say, I'm a really good sleeper, Brian. I get 8 hours of sleep. I go to bed at 1 o'clock. I wake up at 9. I'm like, I still wouldn't give that person a 10. I'd give them a 7. I'd give them a C. 7 out of 10 scale, because they're going to bed too late. If we can go to bed around 10 o'clock, your hormones will balance better, generally speaking. For years, for most of our existence on this planet, we went to bed soon after the sun went down, because there's nothing else to do. Only recently have we been going to sleep later. Okay, recent could be 50 years, 80 years, but that's still recent in the existence of mankind. And that plays a toll on us. So food, how you doing with your diet? Are you a 10? Are you a 9? Where are you at? Are you following a plan? If you're following a plan, that's a high rank right there. Most people have no plan. Most people have no rules. So if you have rules and a dietary plan, even if they're not the best, that's, rank yourself a little bit higher. All right. How's your relationships? How's your family? How's your friend? How's your coworkers? Do you find you're aggravated with everybody in your life? Well, give yourself a lower number. All right. Growth. How do you feel you're doing with progress? Do you feel like you're making progress in life, or do you feel a little stagnant right now? If you're not feeling very, very good with progress, give yourself a lower number. And then finally, movement. Are you following a daily workout program? Are you getting at minimum 30 minutes a day of exercise? Are you moving, or are you sitting? If you're sitting more than you're moving, give yourself a lower score. Okay? So this is one of the most important things with my whole model. So I want you to think about right now, look at your rating, and I simply want you to focus on the area that you need work. Maybe it's a couple areas. You can't focus on everything though, right? So, and again, what's the most important thing? Is it exercise?
No.
Yeah, probably not, but that's what a lot of people prioritize. Some people are super good at exercise. Like they will not miss a day of workouts, but then they'll eat like fast food every day. And they wonder why they're not feeling well, right? So just take a look. Is anything in the first 4, primal needs, do you need to work on that? And then just highlight it, star it, do whatever. And this is a good thing to do. I mean, you can do it daily, you can do it weekly, but I would say whenever you're not feeling well, come back to this question. How are you doing? And I used to have people print out the self-care system, and I would have them just write their number right on the actual circle, and whatever you want to do, okay? But just make note and say, okay, this week I'm going to focus on breathing. So that's mine. I'm declaring that right now. I'm going to do a better job at breathing because I need to. I'm actually doing a great job with my water. My sleep's pretty good. My food's dialed in. Relationships are pretty good. I feel a sense of progress. I've just moved into a home, and I'm pretty excited about that. And I work out every day. And even beyond my workouts, I take my dog for a walk. And even beyond that, whenever I'm on the phone, if I don't have to be on Zoom, I walk around the house. I'm always moving. So just trying to get movement. Okay. So let's go over these quick. Already went over the reason why it's number 1. You'll die without 5 minutes of air. Okay. You control your breath. You control your life. So let's do it real quick. So let's just do a quick little breathing moment. Let's inhale for 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 4, okay? So let's take one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest, and put your feet on the ground real tall. And let's move to the edge of the chair and sit in it with a tall, lengthened spine. So if I was looking at you from the side, I should see your ear, your shoulder, and your hip all in alignment. So we may need to jut that head back a little bit. The shoulders like to go forward, and that head likes to go forward. So sitting tall and lengthened. Take a deep breath in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's what we're going to do, okay? But I want you to do a quick assessment for me. I want you to assess which hand is coming up first, the belly or the rib cage, okay? The chest or the belly rib cage area. So just close your eyes, okay? Take a deep breath in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's keep doing one more. Inhale, deep breath in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1, exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. So I'm going to ask Patty and Cheryl, which hand is rising first or initiating first?
My belly.
Okay,
Belly.
belly. What you got, Cheryl?
Belly.
Belly. Okay, great. So it's supposed to be the belly, but generally speaking, over 50% of the population, probably even more with COVID, are breathing from the chest, which is called inverted breathing. So now for both of you, you're doing it correctly. We've talked about this quite a bit, but remember, most people do not. And even though you guys are trained and know that that's how it's supposed to work, even you, even me, when you're under stress and anxiety, you're going to go here. This is the flight or fight response is, part of the survival mind. The mind is always trying to look for ways for you to survive, and it will just make you breathe shallow and quick. Your blood pressure will go up, your heart rate will go up, your blood flow will go to your eyes. They will dilate. Your blood flow will go to your hands and your feet. Anytime you're stressed, whether you're truly running from a bear or you're sitting at a desk and you're just angry because of finances. It's all the human mind does not know the difference between running from that bear and being angry with finances or a relationship or whatever else. So just we have to know, we have to be careful and just check in with the body. Okay, that's the whole mindfulness piece. So we were supposed to breathe from the belly rib cage, and that's great. So we can work on this. This is where I'm going to give you guys some rituals now or some routines. All right. So we can do this anywhere and everywhere. We don't need it. We don't need a special app. We don't need a meditation class. We don't need another guru. We can just breathe. But sometimes those apps are helpful, right? So, but just know that you can do this anywhere. And I highly recommend you do it. Just put your hands on your chest and your heart before bed. Do it right when you wake up, maybe. Do it during the night if you wake up between 1 and 3, which is very popular. Do it at the red lights. Do it before you exercise, while you're foam rolling maybe, and while you're stretching. Do it while you're exercising. Do it before you're eating and while you're chewing. Do it while you're listening to somebody else talk. There's all these opportunities. There's no reason why we can't master breathing in primal need number 1. Okay? And it becomes even more important the more stressed out you are, the more in pain you are. Okay? So there's a lot of different options. I got some breathing apps here. If anybody wants this PowerPoint, I can send it to you also. Also, I could send it in the recording. One of my favorite meditations is called Priming from Tony Robbins. You can click on this link and you can get the best 15-minute meditation I've ever done. The more consistent I am at doing it, I feel amazing. And it combines gratitude, breathing, healing yourself, and it allows you to heal other people with the energy that you have now created in your body. So I love it. And also you put out 3 goals, all during this meditation, and you visualize yourself achieving those goals, which is a very powerful way to achieve goals. So Patty, for example, got a surgery coming up. You could visualize after the surgery, the success. You can visualize the success after the surgery or the success 6 weeks later, the ability to move your arm in new ranges of motion, with freedom and ease without pain. So you can visualize that, but we want to practice that. We want to practice that vision. All right. Ahead of time. All right. Number 2, hydration. So I mentioned that we need, you can only go about 7 days without water already, but some problems with dehydration are all of these things. Like people eat more than they should because they're dehydrated. People get kidney stones. Like I've never had that, but I do not want that. That's the number 1 reason people get kidney stones because they don't drink enough water. Joint pain. A lot of people have joint pain simply because they're not drinking enough water. People gain weight. They retain weight. They actually, I see it all the time. I see it every day, especially in the summer when it's hot. Saw it a lot last year with COVID when it was like really hot in the San Francisco Bay Area. It was like 98 degrees in my house, I think, at one point. I couldn't even sleep inside. We had to sleep outside. But I remember during that time when all the fires were happening, that people were like, God, my weight's up, Brian, like 2 or 3 pounds. And then I would look at their total body water number, because our scales tell us total body water, weight, body fat, all these things. And I would see their total body water down and their weight up. It's like highly correlated. So we need to make sure we get our water, and even more water and electrolytes when it's hot, when you work out. So there's a lot of problems when it comes to dehydration. So I already mentioned the goal, half your body weight in ounces, but I have a great product as well called Complete Mineral Complex from Designs for Health. And I take that for a number of reasons. One is because we all can benefit from minerals, but it also helps us create calm. There's magnesium, zinc, phosphorus in it, iodine. We talked about iodine a couple of weeks ago, how it helps the metabolism. I actually didn't realize it till yesterday, that there's enough iodine in there that you don't need iodized salt. So I've been now recommending iodized salt to people because your thyroid needs iodine. And a lot of times, actually most of the time, most people are deficient in iodine. Now, it's not one of the things I remember to even tell people because it's not on my radar. There's just so many variables. But that one product solves so many problems. Magnesium's in it, calcium, phosphorus, zinc, iodine. So all of those things can be very helpful. Okay. And then probably one of the biggest things I see with dehydration is constipation. And that is, if you're constipated, you're not losing weight. You're not feeling well. You're not going to be a happy camper, especially as the constipation lasts. So, but love Complete Mineral Complex. Also think about some of these things here. I have, I think it's here, mineral water. I love Pellegrino water. Any kind of Italian water has naturally occurring minerals in it. Okay. Also consider, starting your day with water. It's a ritual that if I don't do, I am a mess. If I don't drink, I drink like 32 ounces of water to start my day. Actually, 24 ounces nowadays. But that's a lot for somebody who's not drinking any water. So just start at 8, then go to maybe 16, keep upping it. And we can add lemon or apple cider vinegar to that. And I love drinking out of mason jars. It's easier for me to drink my water. And also think about filtering your water. So I love this company, Aquasana. You can click on here. But they have all kinds of different units, pretty inexpensive. Even if you live in an apartment, they have a good filtration system. If you own a home, they have a whole body unit as well, whole house unit. All right, sleep. You need some sleep, guys. I already mentioned that. You will increase your fat, specifically around your belly, if you don't get sleep. Okay? This is probably the hardest thing to accomplish because life happens after dark, right? Especially if you get in a new relationship, you may be up a little later. So be careful who you're hanging out with. Anyway, moving on. So, but we start winding down in the evening time. Winding down instead of winding up. A lot of people just their timing's all wrong. Here's what most people do. Most people have their biggest meal at night, and they go to bed like at midnight, 1 o'clock. And now with our younger generation, this is becoming normal because everybody's connected. They're texting and Instagramming and TikToking. They're sleeping with their phones underneath their pillows or right next to their heads. Not good. And that leads to insomnia and hormonal issues at a very, very young age. Headaches, migraines, doing those kind of things is not going to help anybody. And when those young folks get to 30, 40, it's going to be ugly. So there's lots of work on, but this is going to be the hardest task. So let's try to do the best we can to create a ritual of shutting down technology about an hour before bed or so, maybe a half an hour, whatever you can do, and create some wind down routines. Maybe do that meditation app, maybe foam roll at night, just lying on a foam roll, lying on your back. This is not on here, but lying on your back with your feet up on a chair. So I'm lying on my back right now. I'm pretending I am. So this position here, called the restoration position. I'm lying on my back, pretend I'm lying on my back right now. I'm putting my legs on a chair and just work on that breathing.
Okay.
So what this does is it brings blood flow down from the legs to the reproductive system and the digestive system, which can be very beneficial because if you're in that flight or fight response, remember what happens? The blood flow goes to the extremities, your fighting and fleeing muscles, and that can lead to infertility. That can lead to digestive problems, reproductive problems. So we're bringing the blood flow back. And I know, as you know, my wife had been doing this for years, even before I met her, because she's a hairstylist. Anybody who stands up all the time has a similar problem with circulation because the blood flow is going down with gravity. The only way blood flow goes back up is muscle contraction, which is why we need to move. So if I just sit all day, well, my circulation is not really getting the best, right? We're not achieving the best circulation. So again, it's just a good way to wind down. But you can do it anytime you want. But my wife would do that every day or after she worked because it's very common for hairstylists to get varicose veins, which is another problem.
Oh.
So again, we're just helping the blood flow. Okay. But by contracting the muscles, it's even better. If I lied on my back and now I just went up and down with my feet, I'm pumping muscles, and now that blood flow goes to and from, the lower body to back to the heart and the brain and everything else. All right, so shut the tech down. What can you do between that hour now that if we're not watching TV or we're not connected? Well, there's a few things we can do. We can maybe write a to-do list for the next day, the most important task to accomplish, so you feel progress. Remember, progress is key, but if I just write a bunch of things down and I don't accomplish them, I'm not going to feel progress, right? So what's one thing that you can accomplish that you'd feel good about if you accomplished it? Write that down. Let's prep our food. If you don't plan your food, it's not going to work out. We're having some amazing success right now with our clients on this program called the Little Black Dress Program. There's two people in particular that are just killing it, and they were at a plateau. They had been working with me for a while. They lost a lot of weight, but then they hit a plateau, and then they're doing this program, and both of them are just so dialed in because they're not eating things that are not structured. One new lady that I just started working with, I didn't ask her for it, but she wrote me a whole week dietary plan before she even started. So we started on Monday. She gave me the dietary plan like Friday. Here's what I'm gonna eat, Brian. I was like, wow, of course she's doing well. If you're that detailed and structured, you're gonna do well, right? So this is not about sleep right now, but this is super important. This is the little things that you can accomplish at night when you're not watching TV, when you're not zoning out, when you're not escaping reality. Let's actually work on you during that magic hour. And just remember, if you optimize your evening, you're going to have an amazing day the next day. So I wrote it another way on here. It says control your morning by preparing at night as you wind down. But if you want an amazing Monday, make it an amazing Sunday night. All right. So, and there's a lot of things that can help people sleep. Designs for Health sells a product called Insomnitol. I've actually been using that lately because I've been wound up, because I've been trying to I'm on the go. All right. I can't stop because as soon as I finish this, I'm gonna look and see what do I need to unpack. So, but we need to create that calm. You can't sleep if your nervous system's leveled up, right? So things like lavender can be helpful. I love Young Living oils, lavender. doTERRA is okay, but I like Young Living better. Rescue Remedy, they sell that at Whole Foods and most health food stores. I love that product. You shake it up, squirt 3 drops in some water and drink it. That's very helpful. Magnesium, very helpful. It calms you. Like an Epsom salt bath is magnesium salts, and that complete mineral complex. Those are all different ways to calm the nervous system. Okay. Number 4 is food. You can only live 21 days without food. You can see the side effects of no food if you ever watch a show like Naked and Afraid. It's a perfect example of the need for food, and you can't just live on shrubs and berries, not in the wild. It doesn't work. You can live on genetically altered food in America, but You can't when you're in the wild. They don't have genetically altered food and, you know, impossible burgers out there in the wild. So it's, you know, it's just a little different, right? So we have to we have to have food, and we have to have nourishing food if you're in a survival mode. We got to have a plan. I've talked about that. And I recommend trying something out for a good 4 weeks before changing. But there's lots of things we can do. And I have 13 different programs myself that I've created. So I'm fine with changing things up. In a couple, not a couple weeks, probably 4 weeks, I'm going to come out. I'm going to be launching our plant-based 30-day program. So I'm not necessarily looking to become a plant-based diet-only person, but I will commit to most of the week being plant-based. Most of the week. Cheryl's happy for me. Yes, and I've done it before. I've done it before.
I know you have.
I've done it before. I went about probably 5 weeks being a vegetarian. So then I had to have that hamburger, and God, it was so good. All right. So in one way, we got to make sure when we go on nutrition programs that we assess well. So again, I love this idea of using a Renfo scale, cheap scale for most people, but we have an even better way. That's a Fit 3D body scanner in the Bay Area. I recommend doing that every other week, or every month. Just do it some regular occurrence, but also take your photos. Try on some jeans that don't fit. Keep trying them on. Just different ways of measuring progress. Okay. So here's my rituals around food. Think of there's only three things. There's protein, fat, and carbs. That's it. That's all there is to eating. We make this too complicated. So what's your protein? Number one. So let's think about that first, okay? Especially if you work out, we definitely need a decent amount of protein. We need in regards to our carbs, we need carbs. We don't want to not eat carbs, but let's try to get a majority of our carbs from plants, like vegetables, like these string beans here, right? And then the third thing is a complex carb, right? Now, something that's complex is like sweet potatoes or quinoa. Those are complex carbs. Now, if you're not working out, or if you are undergoing surgery soon, or you just or looking to recover from one, I would not eat that high starchy complex carb. I'd focus on the protein and the vegetables and a fat for cooking. And maybe we have a little more fat in that situation. I've had really good success with people that don't work out on a higher fat diet of about 50% fat or so, 50, 60% fat, with tons of vegetables and protein, but avoiding the starchy carb on those situations. So it just depends. If someone's working out a lot, I like to give them rice and quinoa and sweet potatoes and yams and beets and carrots and fruit. Okay, but we got to be careful of those sugary things, even though they're healthy. They're sugar, right? At the end of the day, so we just got to be careful. And how do you know if you had too much? Well, you'll find out how your energy is. Number one, if you're hungry for sweets, it's probably a sign that you most likely are having too many carbohydrates. You can measure with the glucometer. I love the Libre glucometer. That's one of my favorite things. And you'll probably notice your numbers going up, your scale and your body fat if you're eating too many carbs. And your blood test called hemoglobin A1C will also go up with the doctor. So, and here's my rules. I try to avoid gluten, pasteurized dairy, except for butter and ghee. If I have dairy, I try to go raw dairy, like raw cheese. Specifically, goat cheese is the easiest to digest. And then cow cheese, secondary. But I try to find raw if I can. I'm not a fan of eggs all the time. I keep doing that, sorry. Eggs tend to be a problem from a digestive standpoint. They show up as a sensitivity 7 out of 10 times. Dairy, I don't know exactly if it's raw or pasteurized, but I'm assuming that pasteurized dairy is the problem because they don't separate it in the blood test. And no one really has raw dairy for the most part. But But 9 out of 10 people do not do well with dairy. 9 out of 10 have sensitivities shown on blood work. So that's my big one to avoid, even more than gluten. I need to get gluten and put it down. Pasteurized dairy would be 1, eggs would be 2. I may even throw gluten last now. I actually don't think it's as bad as we're making it. And I think if you're going to eat gluten, do like sourdough bread. It's actually a good form of gluten as well. Unless you have gluten intolerance or celiac disease, but I think it's probably been a little bit of an overkill.
Okay.
Relationships, 5th primal need. Key thing is find the people that fill you up, avoid the people that deplete you. It's a little harder to do with your family, but you don't need to hang out with your family all the time. So just find moments to hang out with them, and just do your best to deal with those situations, and don't take it personally. Don't let them stress you out too much. I have a great little quiz here. I did this with some high school kids last week. Found out your love language. What do you need? Who are you? They kind of say what kind of person you are. Are you someone who needs more quality time, or do you need gifts, words of affirmation? You can find out what you need and what maybe your friends or your partner needs, and by knowing what each other needs, you can have a better relationship, right? So I'm a quality time touch kind of guy. I'm a little bit of both. I'm having trouble figuring out which one I am, but I'm kind of both. My wife is quality time, and she doesn't want the touch as much. So that could be a problem. So you can know what the other person likes, so you can meet their needs. Okay, a great assessment, great book too. 5 love languages. Okay, so some rituals to improve this need are hug and connect with as many people as possible. Becomes a little bit tough with a pandemic, but we can still connect on Zoom, phone calls, go to the park, whatever you can do, or whatever you're comfortable with. I'm hugging people personally, but not everybody. So I don't trust everybody, but I'm not hugging strangers like I used to. And they don't want to hug me. So it kind of works out, but that's an important thing. Work on being a good listener, and breathe when you're listening, as I recommended before. Be aware of your thoughts and your language towards yourself and others, because sometimes we're really mean to ourselves and others, right? Sometimes we're very reactive, especially when we're not getting our needs met. We're not our best selves, so we react. So that's why it's really important to take care of you. And a lot of people have trouble doing that. They're so busy connecting and loving others, or trying to love others, that they're not giving to themselves. And in the effort to give to others, they're kind of angry about it, right? They're like angry people. So anyway, we really need to take care of ourselves so we can better love each other. Okay. And remember, we are social creatures and do best in supportive environments, supportive communities. So we've always prided ourselves on our fitness community, and how that's probably more important than the workouts that we do in person. Now we're online. I'm trying to do events like this to build that community, and hopefully we can continue to share. I'm doing Friday meetings at noon with my community to try to continue to build this idea of community. All right, a couple more things. Growth. Already talked about it a little bit. We need this constant and never-ending improvement, and we need to focus on our mindset. Tony Robbins says, master your emotions, master your life. So we can master, if we feel better, we're gonna have better emotions. So something about emotions, like if you take a look at this triangle here, this is called the triad of emotional health. Just remember that our emotions can be affected by any of these 3 areas. Our language to ourselves and others, I just mentioned that, right? The words we say to ourselves and others. Our physiology, we've been focusing on that: breathing, hydration, sleep, and food, and exercise. Dance, anything that changes our physiology. Breathing changes our physiology. Hydration changes our physiology. Sleep changes our physiology, better or worse. So does food, dance, music, all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to change my physiology in my physiology in seconds, I can simply put some music on and dance. I can go on a walk and breathe. I can do burpees. You may not like them, but they're going to change your physiology. And that will change your emotions. And if you don't know what I mean by emotions, again, here's my emotional guidance scale.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we want to try to have emotions that are like love, at the top of the chart here: love, enthusiasm, eagerness, happiness, positive beliefs, optimism, hopefulness, contentment. We want to be there. We don't want to have negative emotions: hatred, revenge, anger, blame, fear, grief, depression, despair. This is when people commit suicide, right? We don't want those things. And the more we don't take care of our needs, we will all get there. If we have relationships that are not working out, and you're not eating well, and you're not hydrating well, and you're not sleeping, you will feel these negative emotions, and you may never have thought of doing harm to yourself, but it just could happen.
Yeah.
All right. So just remember, you can change your emotional state in seconds. This is why I've been so attracted to Tony Robbins. He said this about 20 years ago, and I heard it, and I'm like, wow, is that really possible? Like, there's people that go to a psychologist or psychiatrist for years, counseling, that you can change it in seconds. I now believe you can, but it's strategies. It is a strategy to talk to a psychologist or psychiatrist, but just talking about your problems will not change your life. We have to be proactive and actually change a few variables as well. Okay, but we got to be the master of our emotions, and we can do that by changing our physiology, our focus, which I didn't talk about. But where my focus goes, my energy goes. So if I'm solely focused on all that's wrong, that's all I'm going to see, which is the left side of that triangle. Okay, so what can we do on a daily basis to optimize our emotions? We could focus on our own agenda instead of others' agenda. Okay, we could avoid technology or limit technology. Get clear on our why. So if you're very clear on what you want, because it's easy to forget it, you got to write it down somewhere, because it's so easy to say, I'll do that later. I'll take care of myself later. I'm overwhelmed right now. But if we remember, oh, that's right, I got a trip coming up, or I got a surgery coming up. That's right, I forgot about it because I was so overwhelmed. I actually forgot I need to eat healthy. I totally forgot. I have a surgery coming up. Oh my God, right? I can't do that, not for the next 3 weeks until, at least 3 weeks or whatever it is. Or I got this trip coming up. I totally forgot. Jeez. I got this wedding coming up. People forget. And they're like, I'll go on a diet later. Or I'll eat better tomorrow. So we just got to get clear. Okay. So keep your goals current, get a coach, because again, we get in our own way. I have coaches for everything, and I need it. So, and it says control your morning. Remember, if I jump right on technology in the morning, that's not controlling my morning. I'm now at risk, because if I'm not ready to handle what I'm seeing on phone or the news or in media, if I'm not like feeling good about myself, that media, the text message, the Facebook message could bring me down into an emotional state. So be very careful how you start your day, and be careful of negative people, social media, and things like that. Okay, so that's kind of the mindset growth variable. And the last thing is our movement. So we need to get at least 30 minutes in. As I said, let's move as much as possible, and we want to find something you enjoy. And remember that we don't just want to walk. That's great, but it'd be great to get some strength work in, some balance work, some cardio, some agility, some core stuff, some massage. We want to do a lot of things because we need more than just walking. That's all you can do. That's great, but we can achieve a lot more. And we just want to remember: stand more than you sit, move more than you stand. Try to make a note to get at least 5,000 steps in. I'd like to see everybody get 10,000 steps. But in addition to that, foam roll stretch. Let's get some strength work, and we have programs that are structured in order to make that happen. Okay, so that is the 7 daily primal needs.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Yes, if you have any questions on that, let me know. For anybody who listens to this after, we got some offers for like new people or returning clients. We'll give you all a fit 3D scan if you live in the Bay Area. We'll give you a free strategy session with Cheryl or myself. And if anybody mentions that they were on this Zoom recording, you'll get $50 off your first month of anything that you do. All you have to do is text card to that number and then send us an email, and we'll get back to you. All right. So,
Hey, Brian.
Is what I got. Yes.
Go back to that last slide.
Yeah. Something wrong?
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct that NRE.
Yes.
Should that be new?
New. Yes. Yes. Thank you. We'll fix that. Thank you. Thank you.
It's a certain kind of client. It's a NRE client.
Yeah, it's like the NRA, but it's
Yeah, exactly.
different. Yeah. National Rifle
Ending or
Ending.
something.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
Exit.
yeah. So that's all I got. Any questions?
Well, can you email this presentation
Yes.
to me? I'd like to have it and print it off and
Yes.
have it. Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
sure. And if there's anybody out there that listens to this later, and if you have a need for a speaker at your work or any place, I love to share this with people. I've given this talk to real estate agents in Intero. I've given it to schools, to teachers. They do like personal development before the school year, and I was asked in a couple school districts to do this.
Wow.
And I was asked to speak, and I decided to do this because I feel like this is a good overview of ways to reduce stress. We went over a lot of information. And it's been really fun to just share it with people because I think people are not aware that some of these other things are a little more important than exercise, even though exercise is important. So that's my goal. And hopefully there'll be a book on this coming out sooner than later. And and then I'll do more speaking as well. So
Cool.
Thank you all.
Very cool. Thank you, Brian.
It was good.